Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be taking a look at the making of my custom Transformers Aileron. So we start here with a few different components. The base robot that I used was the TF1 mainline Bumblebee. Those shoulder thrusters there, the shoulder thrusters are made from the Anakin's Jedi Starfighter from Attack of the Clones era. I think it's the Jada Toys or something like that. I can put it up on screen. But then the rest is made from Power of the Prime's Aileron. Those are her wings, and we also use her tail rudders on there as well. So what I'm going to do first is pop those wheels off and try to supplant those thrusters onto the shoulders, and then those wings will fit into the other holes that the like hyper ring aperture would plug into. So that's the general idea. Now those wheels are pinned on, and I spend a good amount of time with some pliers here trying to remove them this way. I ended up having to, I don't have a pin puncher, but I do have some really thin screwdrivers. So I have like a star bit screwdriver that I stuck into the inside of the arm there, and then just hammered it out on a piece of wood with a hole in it so that the pin had somewhere to go. You can see I kind of tried to do that thing here, but I couldn't apply enough force that way. You need a hammer. And I often work very late at night, so I couldn't really use one myself at the time. But anyway, moving on now, this is the concept for the vehicle mode. Not exactly comic accurate, but the robot mode is, so I'm okay with that compromise. So I went ahead and drilled a hole in the back panel of Bumblebee right there to coincide with the screw hole in the back of those wings. The idea is that I'll use a kind of like washer and screw to keep all of that in place, and the wings can rotate for robot mode. What I also did was on Bumblebee's back panel are a couple of like teeth that will lock the backpack into place. I elected to remove those because I didn't want those teeth to scrape against the paint. And it worked out fine. So I just clipped them off with some pliers and then sanded it down. And now I am attaching the wings to the back plate, which is all just held on by friction onto the actual figure. Also, I apologize for not actually like filming me actually like drilling stuff while I was at work. It'd be a lot easier to show you than explain it to you. But on the shoulders, there are little pegs that the wheels will go into, and those pegs fit just perfectly into the thrusters. So all I had to do was take a tiny drill bit and drill through the shoulders, which already had a hole for the pin, into the actual thrusters. And then I took some tiny screws and screwed those into place, and they worked solidly. And there's enough room. It doesn't get in the way of transformation or articulation, and obviously you can see that they're staying on perfectly well. But yeah, so that's the things there. And now we begin the disassembly process and prep for paint. So yes, we are going to disassemble the entire figure, and as I always say, you will want to record your disassembly process in case you get confused where components are supposed to go. I forgot, one thing I did was actually super glue that chest into place. I tried popping out that T-cog from his chest, and that thing is like glued in there or something on some really thick peg, and I just couldn't get to it. I was starting to chip the plastic and dent it up, and I didn't want to mess anything up. So I super glued that chest into place, and the wheels that I ended up taking off of the shoulders I used as caps for the thrusters to close up that giant gaping hole. But anyway, now we prep for paint. So after painting, here are the wings, totally looking like a bat symbol. Covered up the actual red part of the wings and painted the middle black to be more comic accurate. And then here is the waist piece, which I primed and painted white. And those will receive some red highlights later. And now comes the rest of the body, which I primed as well and painted the legs and arms black, and then the torso white, and we'll proceed with a little bit of red once everything finishes drying and whatnot. So now we begin a little bit of reassembly, particularly with the limbs. The torso I'm going to leave to paint a little bit, but in the meantime I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to reassemble the legs and the arms and start painting those up a little bit. And that happy little thing there is going to be the windshield cockpit part of the plane. It's going to be painted blue. And then there are the thrusters all primed up, and I'll paint those black. And then there's the head back there. And there is the actual cockpit piece. So now we will continue on with some red and taped everything off. And all of that chin little bit is going to be painted red right about now. And yeah, that's looking good. So I'm going to put that off to the side to dry, and we will do some more detail work later. Here is the head. Aileron has a red stripe on her cranium there, so I covered up the rest of her face with tape and attempted to give her a mohawk. So yeah, I'm just taking off the tape now, and her face obviously isn't painted yet, so I'm going to go in with some pink and paint her face and her eyes and a little bit of extra detail in there. So I am just dry brushing the face, and that is going to end up taking like 5 or 6 layers of paint. And then I also went in with some gunmetal gray and painted up some of those vents and some just little techie details in the legs and arms just to give them a little bit of a highlight. So now we continue with our reconstruction progress. Now that everything's dried, I went ahead and added some gunmetal gray onto the torso, and I will paint up the lights here in a bit. Let's see, that's pretty much everything. I'm screwing all the shoulder bits back on, and I'm going to screw the wings back on to the back piece, and just being careful not to scratch anything. Do be aware that that back piece hinge is super difficult to work with. So just take care, take your time, because you don't want to ruin your freshly painted figure. And there she is for the most part. Her face is now, I think, mostly finished. So I'm going to take that and throw it back on there real quick, and we'll get a good idea of where we're actually at, because I do not look ahead in these videos. Oh, look, she's still headless. Okay, so that should probably be deleted. There's the head. So I painted some white stripes on her dome. It's not completely accurate, but they looked good, so I went with it. I also painted white on her shoulders and painted her headlights as well. And now that she's all sealed up, here's the final figure. So I couldn't figure out how to give her proper headlights, but other than that, I'm pretty amazed with how well this figure turned out. The alt mode totally isn't accurate, but I think that's perfectly fine, and this looks more alien to me anyway than what the actual design is. So I think it works out well. I will admit, I think the face paint may be a little bit sloppy, as well as those thrusters, but I can't deny that I'm very happy with the way this figure turned out. So anyways, thank you guys for watching and checking this out. If you would like to Follow me on Instagram. I've got more photos of this figure on there, as well as my other customs and toy reviews and stuff like that. I hope you guys feel inspired and happy building. And have a good winter break too. That's a thing that's happening right now. Bye.